everyone. So in this video I'll be talking about the last two models. That's the product life cycle model and the BCG or Boston Consulting Group's model together. Let me just clear this. So under the BCG model, we are basically looking at our strategic business units. That is what we are looking at. And our strategic business units, assuming Coca-Cola, would be Fanta, would be Sprite, would be Crest, and so forth and so forth. The SBUs under cohort would be BCom, BBIT, BSCM, BPCM, and so forth and so forth. They're your source of income basically, and we look at them. Goodness, basically, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, give me another word. Basically, what we're talking about is we look at them in form of growth or in form of market share. Therefore, in scenario combination, you can have growth, which is either high or stunted or low, market share, which is high or low. So you have SBUs under 1, SBUs under 2, SBUs under 3, and SBUs under 4. Now, the ones where the growth is low and the share is low are called the dog. And the strategy here that we use is divest, harvest, or just basically pull out of that market. Basically, you cannot hold because you're not growing. The share is also low. Now you're basically divesting from that market altogether. Now we go to another scenario where you have the growth is low but the share is very, very high. This is called the cash cow. Then you have scenarios where the growth is high, the share is low. It's called a question mark. Then you have the growth is high, the share is high. It's called a star. So every quadrant, you can read through your notes, every quadrant that any product will fall under, whether it's a star, it's a cash cow, it's a question mark, or it's a dog, will differ depending on the product. Now, if we were to compare this here with the Eagle Ansoff's model, we can see some similarities, somewhat minute similarities, where you have an existing product in the existing market. Now this would be, it's no longer growing, but the share is high. It has grabbed its share. So some of the things that we're talking about in Eagle Ansoff's would apply somewhere around here. Now this is a course where it's been in JQuat, it's BCom, and it has the biggest share, but in terms of increasing the enrollment rate, it has basically stunted around a certain intake number. That is what you basically call a cash cow. Now, what you want here again is to hold. The position here or the strategy here would be to hold. Now, when the growth is low, again, you can try to spy it through the various methods as we shall see in PLC, but that's basically what you do under this section. Now you have other products that are question marks, that they have very low share but they are high in growth. And if you want to compare this model with the PLC, we say that the product life cycle starts with introduction, then you go to growth, then you go to maturity, then you go to decline in this phase. In other words, we are going down. So if we want to just basically extrapolate this model under this section over here, we would look at something like this. What are some of the strategies that we can use to bring the product back up to where we were at? If this is the dog over here, it's basically the dog or a product who is basically in decline. We can say that most of the things that we were doing in existing market and existing product apply. in the Eagle Ansoff's model, they apply around this section. Now, since we've done principles of marketing, most of the strategies were using samples in this section, using aggressive advertising in this section, using discounts and so forth. All the things that we do in each and every place in terms of how we structure our distribution channel and so forth will be applying. Now, the maturity step over here would be the cash cow, would be this one, star would be here, and question mark would be here. So everything that we conventionally do as we progress from step to step, would apply as though it were in this BCG model over here. So there's not much to talk about when we're talking the BCG model. Now, one that I will probably want you guys to study on your own is the General Electric model. Now, it is an expansion of the BCG model, and it brings on the table some of the aspects that we do not have on our notes. Now, I wanted to talk about the last one, the last strategy, and this was what we talked about, functional strategies. And in functional strategies, I will talk about outsourcing. I will expand this further in class, but outsourcing would be, the outsourcing models that we use would be one of the critical things that I want to bring. Now, there is a video that I used in the principles of procurement, and I talk about it expansively. So I'll just send you the video instead of redoing this one over here. I'll just send you guys the video, go through it, and you'll be able to understand what are the models that I used in functional strategies. Again, we'll talk about this in class on Thursday. That's it for models. Now we go to the last two steps. Thank you.